Back talking politics. You know you love it. What does W.L. Pate think about the Republican nominee? Who's got it wrapped up right now?
Oh no! But listen, right now, you know, it's one of those.
It's not too early.
Last time I checked, in 2007, they were going to coronate Queen Hillary. Now, she obviously is in her second term. Oh no, wait, she didn't get elected
Well,
at all.
the coronation's underway right now.
It is on that side so far, but when you look at polls today, I mean, they are irrelevant to what's going to happen. McCain, who ended up being the nominee in 2008, lost all his staff and he's carrying his own bags. You'd have thought he was Jimmy Carter, only John McCain actually had something in his. President Carter would just carry the stuff out there and they'd be empty. So it looked like he was carrying his bags to Air Force One.
And then he rallied. And then he rallied to
well,
the
and the rest is and that's the way it
Is
works.
the rest
Scott
is failed,
Walker, I think Scott
conservative
Walker is going to be a viable candidate. Mike Pence. The Republicans have a lot of choices.
The dark horse, Mike Pence, you think could arrive at the end?
There are a number. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at governors before they look at senators, because governors actually had to be managers, administrators.
The Southeast Texans say no to Mike Huckabee. Do they?
No.
Do Southeast Texans? Would Southeast Texans say no to Ted Cruz?
I'm
I think
afraid
so.
that Texans
I
have
hope
said
so.
yes to Ted Cruz. He's a U.S.
Texas-
senator in this
Texans.
state.
Actually,
Texans out.
fascinating poll has Scott Walker running ahead of Ted Cruz in Texas. Just
in Texas.
in
I haven't
Texas.
seen that one. Fantastic.
But they're going to be looking at governors.
They're going to be turning to Jeb Bush.
If Southeast Texans, put it like
Jeb
this,
Bush
had their
is
Yeah.
creating a money juggernaut when
Yeah.
he is holding fundraisers where $100,000 a plate.
Yeah. If Southeast Texans had their way, would they pick Jeb Bush in your view?
Probably.
What would if the whole pie were just Southeast Texans, who would they nominate on the Republican side?
We're going to nominate, Texans would nominate somebody seriously more conservative than Jeb Bush, and it would be somebody, I think, like Ted Cruz or Walker out
Interesting.
there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they're electable, and that's the way
Yeah.
the rest of the country's going to go, but
Yeah.
we're awfully red here.
If the whole we are awfully.
Well, I'm Native American, so I was that way all along. But
Who do you think would? By the
well,
way,
seriously, I am being serious about the Native American thing. But when you look at guys like Scott Walker and say, look, this is what I believe. This is how I feel about things, and really stands for something. They want somebody that's going to stand up and say, I believe in cutting taxes. I believe in cutting regulation. I believe in giving everybody an equal opportunity. People want to hear something like that, not how do you feel about it? Let's
Do you
run a
feel-
poll.
I don't think
Right.
he gets out of South Carolina.
3 minutes left in our program. Immigration squabble when it comes to the clean bill that the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has now endorsed, a bill that funds the Department of Homeland Security, but would allow the executive orders of the president to go forward and to, in the minds of conservatives, provide an amnesty. They use that word, so-called amnesty, for some 5 million illegal immigrants. Do you support this move that McConnell has made? It seems like something that the president would support.
2 weeks ago, Chuck Hagel said the greatest threat to the American people is Congress and their inability to act. And it's foolish, idiotic to defund Homeland Security because of a squabble with the president. So the whole thing is just idiotic. They need to fund Homeland Security, quit acting like little kids, and move forward. If the Republicans want to come forward with some immigration proposals and reform, that's great. Border traffic is the lowest it's been since 1973.
And yet you hear the reports that among the some 36,000 illegal immigrants that have been arrested, undocumented immigrants, that some 1,000 have already reoffended. There's that part of the equation.
By the year 2030, 75% of all the new jobs, and this ought to offend the Democratic base, will be from immigrants.
75%
75% of the new jobs between now and 2030 will go to immigrants. Now, when people say, well, everybody came through Ellis Island, I said, I got news for you. 12 million people came through Ellis Island. 12 million. We have more illegal aliens from Mexico right now than people who actually came through Ellis Island. And we need to step back and say, what are the options? Of course, the first option, since the president thinks the biggest thing is global warming, certainly not ISIS or anything else.
Don Brown, weigh in, my friend.
Immigration prior to 1900 was if you got here, you kept your nose clean and you worked hard, you were melded into the American fabric. We have 12 million people in this country that have come here, kept their nose clean, worked hard, and should be allowed to be woven into the fabric of America and get them out of the shadows.
Yeah, we have to
tell them to get in line, like some of my friends that actually became U.S. citizens. Try to go to France and show up.
That's what you're saying.
Go to Mexico. Sneak into Mexico. They only put you in jail for 2 years. Sneaking into Mexico. Ask what happened to Tommy Bean when he crossed the border and happened to have a few bullets in his truck, is in a Mexican jail.
Yep, and we have to
I mean,
leave it there.
It ought to be,
Understood? Very good. We'll see you next time on Southeast Texas Weekly.
Southeast Texas Weekly, brought to you by the Modern Vein Surgery Institute at Privity Clinic for Surgical Care.